let's bring in Mattie Duppler, National Taxpayers Union Senior Fellow, who's also President of Forward Strategies, and Megan Greene, Senior Fellow with Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. Thanks both for joining us. Megan, if I start with you, do you think it's the right ploy for someone like Bernie Sanders to focus really quite clearly on the inequality point as opposed to the headline strength of the economy, which probably plays into the president's hands?
Yeah, I think it is absolutely right to focus on inequality. I mean, the Gini coefficient, which is the most often used measure of income inequality, at least, hit its highest level ever in 2018. So we are talking, if there's a turnaround at all, it's from incredibly high levels. And I think, Becky, you're right to actually point out that, wages have been growing faster amongst the low-wage earners than the high-wage earners, because that's exactly what a hot economy and running the labor market hot is designed to do. But again, we're talking from really low levels, so faster growth from really low levels. And there are a bunch of structural factors that feed into wage and income inequality as well, and they include things like our patterns of consumption, which overwhelmingly are services now. Well, service-producing jobs are really low-wage, low-hour jobs. So that's keeping a lid on low-wage growth. And then also things like market concentration, which have really shifted the balance of power away from labor and towards employers when you have superstar economies. Things like the gig economy, demographics, those are all big, long-term structural drivers of growing inequality for the U.S. and other countries, and those are going absolutely nowhere. So I think it's right for the Sanders campaign and other politicians to be focusing on this issue.
Mattie, do you think that it will make a difference, though, highlighting the levels of inequality, or do you think that the headline numbers for the economy are playing into the president's hand and to overweight all of that?
For sure. The Democrats have their work cut out for them in a hot economy, because it would be very unusual for Trump not to be able to be reelected in this kind of expansion. And that's why you see Democrats focus on inequality, because the case they need to make to voters is not just that they are the better choice, it's that things would be worse under Trump if they don't get elected. Now, it's not clear at all that that will be the case. We mentioned the labor market and the data that we're seeing there. Over the next couple months, we'll have to look and see if those wage numbers continue to rise, but those coincide with a change in the demographics and the way people vote. Over the last 8 years or so, we've really seen the crystallization of non-college educated voters really becoming more Republican, whereas college-educated voters become more Democrat. So you had Robert talk about how those managers aren't getting as high of a raise as the folks who are at the bottom tiers of the working class. If that continues, that will continue to feed right into that narrative for Republicans who are saying they have a handle on the economy. I don't know that Sanders and Warren and the rest of Democrats talking about a wealth tax and talking about inequality is going to correct for that when Americans really feel that they're better off, particularly after 10 years of not seeing any wage increases.
Megan, if the middle ground voter may well be more attracted than typically to the current president because of the strength of the economy, do you think people are underestimating the balance of probability of who's more likely to win between Biden as more of a centrist and Bernie Sanders as more of a progressive? Do you think, in fact, that Bernie's chances are slightly better in that light if he turns out that base of his better than Biden can win the middle ground voter?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would reject this premise. The debate isn't really whether the economy is hot or now, it's whether people feel like the recovery is actually benefiting them. And there, I think there is a big question, particularly for the middle class, which has been largely carved out. So to your point, I do think that, we might be underestimating support for those like Bernie Sanders who are highlighting inequality. That being said, historically speaking, centrists win. And so, maybe Biden does have the best chance of being the next nominee.